Thanks for watching the Manhwa recap. Subscribe for more content, and don't forget to comment below what you want to see in the future. Like and share for more. Slivia gave Rayon to Glenn to hold him. Rayon felt that it was quite a nasty fate. Glenn named him Rayon, which implies him to live and exist quietly like a shadow. Like he was not even there after crossing through life and death. Rayon regained his name from his previous life. Sylvia tried to argue to have Glenn change the name, but he refused to do that and left that place. The night arrived and Rayon woke up from his sleep as he was sure that the others would be asleep now. That was a frustrating 100 days, but now he has an opportunity. He always sleeps at random intervals whenever he woke up. Sylvia was right next to him. He wasn't even able to control mana or anything during the last 100 days. But it's a relief that he could now sleep alone in the crib. Therefore, he decided to start his training. He practiced the cultivation technique. Ring of Fire condenser techniques use breathing to accept mana from nature and accumulate aura in the energy center. The Ring of Fire, which he obtained through his special encounter, is different. Just as a sorcerer creates a mana circle, it creates a circular ring around his heart, which increases stamina and stimulates the body's growth while also heightening willpower and affinity to mana. Due to that, this method allows one to obtain ideal conditions for becoming a warrior, so it's the greatest cultivation technique in the world. Another advantage to it is that not even a genius like Darius can detect if the Ring of Fire exists or not. On top of that, if Rayon cultivated his body and mind using the Ring of Fire and learned Zygarde's swordsmanship, his revenge against Darius, Robert won't be a pipe dream, but his body constitution was terrible as his mana circuits are filled with intense coldness. That is why his entire body is cold even after he slept for 20 or so hours. Rayon sensed that the blockage is in about 9 areas, which is quite severe at this rate. He will die after the coldness blocks all of his mana circuits. He needs to break through the circuits with the Ring of Fire. And on the other hand, it would be a waste to throw this high-intensity coldness away. He decided to combine it with the flow of fire and circulate them together. After some time passed, Rayon managed to cultivate a little, but even that had left him tired. So Rayon once again fell into a deep sleep as he couldn't control it. After that, someone came into the room and watched Rayon sleeping inside the cradle. It was none other than Glenn. But he came there without anyone noticing. He placed his hand on the back of Rayon and used his mana to alleviate some of the coldness inside him. The next morning arrived and Rayon crawled on the floor. Slivia stood before him and asked him to walk a bit more and shake the babe rattle to encourage him to move further. Rayon felt that it was hard to play along. He had the mindset of an adult, but he was forced to act like a baby. He was dying of embarrassment. Sylvia praised him that there was nothing he couldn't do, but Rayon felt that cold was much better than this as Sylvia was cuddling Rayon. An old man came inside. He inquired about Sylvia. She was also happy to see him and called him an old man and corrected herself to call him a saint. He wanted Sylvia to refer to him as an old man as always. Rayon identified that he was a rugged saint. His skill and divine power and art are both said to be at the peak. He's the most famous healer on the continent. But his wanderlust makes it hard to meet him. He was on his travels and came to Zygarde as he heard that Sylvia had a child. He took Rayon and identified that he took after Sylvia. Rayon's appearance was the same as Glenn, but he was cuter than him. He then inquired about the name of him. Sylvia struggled to mention the name. Rayon the Saint asked whether that was intentional with the meaning of shadow behind it. Sylvia confirmed it. And the saint wondered what Glenn was thinking when he named Rayon, seeing the saint refer to Glenn by his name rather than the title. Rayon confirmed that there was a relationship between them. He heard about that, but he thought it was just a rumor. But Glenn and the saint had a deep friendship than he had thought. The saint decided to take a look at him. He placed his hand on him and checked his condition. Sylvia was worried about Rayon. The saint also found a problem with Rayon's body. Rayon has the curse of frost within him. His mana circuits are blocked by the chucks of cold, so it was hard for him to become a swordsman in the future. Rayon won't die if he wasn't treated, but he also won't be able to live long with that condition. Sylvia was shocked to hear that and hoped that the saint was lying, but it was the truth, and the saint proposed to give him a medicine to hold back the cold. But he was interrupted by a maid who informed him that Glenn was waiting for him. The saint mentioned that he would come there after some time, but the maid asked him to come immediately, which was Glenn order, the saint's side, as he thought about how Glenn always chose bad timing to do things. He left the place, leaving Sylvia and Rayon. Now Rayon came to know about the disease his body has, but it didn't change anything, and it wasn't problem for him. As he was creating his first ring of fire, suddenly a drop of water fell on his cheek. Rayon looked above and noticed that Sylvia was trembling at that time. She cried as she came to know about Rayon's condition. She refused to believe the diagnosis of the saint. She was determined to do anything to save Rayon. Rayon felt a new type of feeling where his heart stings. It's painful, and his heart aches. He doesn't want to see Sylvia like that. He moved his tiny hand and touched the cheek of Sylvia. He wiped the tears on her face, and Sylvia was surprised to see that Rayon finally called her Mama. As she had wished, seeing Rayon like that, Sylvia resolved herself to do something for him. Inside Glenn's room, the saint and Glenn were having a discussion. Glenn sensed that there was a commotion outside. For the first time since Rayon was born, Sylvia made her way to the place where the head of house, Ziegart, resided. She entered the room despite everyone trying to stop her. Glenn berated Sylvia for her rude behavior, but he was shocked to see Sylvia's next actions. She knelt down and begged Glenn to save her son.